The COVID-19 pandemic has changed the way we work. Millions upon millions of people have been working from home, and face-to-face service jobs have in some cases disappeared altogether to be replaced by automation and other forms of technology. It's looking more and more likely that some of these changes to the job market will be permanent, and so that means uncertainty in a lot of people's futures. Today, we have our Bae Eun-ji here in the studio to tell us more about how the pandemic has affected the labor market in South Korea. Eun-ji, good to have you back.
Good afternoon.
Well, as I was just saying, there have been a lot of changes in the labor market. Some of them could be permanent, like maybe more automation and less in-person customer service. Tell us about that.
That's right. Like you just said, a lot of small businesses are now turning to automation because not only does it reduce risk in the pandemic, but it also saves them money. Here we're talking about people who run coffee shops, small restaurants, and so on, who are considered to be self-employed. If an employee tests positive for COVID-19, a business might be disruptive for a few days, or even close down for a short period of time. But the benefit of machines and robots is that they can't be infected. The latest data from Statistics Korea clearly shows that small businesses are hiring fewer people. Just last month, the number of self-employed people who were not employing others was up by 112,000 compared to the same month the year before. This figure has been rising for 29 months in a row. So, of all the self-employed people in the country, only 23% have employees. And this is the lowest figure since 1999.
So with technology, employers see a way to reduce risk, also to save money. But there's also a segment of customers who actually like the non-contact forms of service, like in a coffee shop where you can go and order from a machine. And we also see the rise of some kinds of convenience stores that don't actually have any staff in them. That's something that the pandemic may have accelerated.
That's right. Some convenience stores in Korea are going unmanned at least at night. They have staff during the day, but from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m., customers serve themselves. You go into the store at night by simply inserting your credit card into the card reader at the door, and you use the self-checkout when you leave. The convenience store chain Emart24 says out of about 5,500 of its franchise stores across the country, around 150 stores are operated in this way. Even though they're unmanned, the stores also sell alcoholic beverages. This beer fridge has a QR scanner to verify your age using your driver's license, and then you put your credit card into the machine to open the door. But the coolest thing is that to pay, you don't have to scan your beer. A camera sees which product you've chosen and charges them to your card when you close the door.
We have decided to use this vending machine to provide convenience to customers and to run our stores more efficiently.
The company also said it plans to expand the use of this machine to sell products other than alcohol. This could pave the way for retailers to launch fully unmanned convenience stores running 24/7.
So, Eun-ji, from what you're saying, and that does sound very interesting, automation is speeding up, a lot of innovation, but that might not be good for the job market, at least in the short term. Tell us about the situation in that regard and what the government might be able to do about it.
Well, Devin, since the pandemic hit, the country has seen a high rate of long-term unemployment. Last month, the number of people who have spent more than 4 months looking for a job amounted to 357,000. Compared to before the pandemic in February 2020, this is an increase of 26.4%. But even worse in June, the number of people who were able to work but had given up and left the labor force altogether stood at 583,000. That's an increase from a year earlier of 46,000. The figure has been recording an all-time high for 16 months in a row now. An economist from the Bank of Korea says it's really important to have these people engaged in the workforce as soon as possible. And he expressed hope that automation can actually create new jobs, so the government should help workers who are at a high risk of being replaced to find jobs related to this field.
For instance, with more self-ordering kiosks, the manufacturers will need to hire more people. People who lost their job can maybe get a job there, or if not, get other jobs that have been newly created through this kind of automation. So the government needs to help out these people move on to a new job.
So, Eun-ji, it sounds like people who have lost their jobs because of automation or issues in the pandemic should think about acquiring new skills that could transfer into perhaps even an entirely different industry. What other changes are we seeing in the labor market?
Well, another issue in the labor market is that large businesses have started hiring again, but smaller ones have not been able to. This shows how the pandemic has widened this gap between large companies and small companies. In Korea, large businesses are defined as those with more than 300 employees. A report by the country's central bank shows that employment at large businesses increased by 6.4% last month compared to before the pandemic. Meanwhile, the workforce at smaller businesses shrank by 0.8%.
Big companies getting bigger creates higher barriers to entry for small businesses. This will have a negative impact on businesses hiring new people.
He said the government should find ways to help SMEs hire more people. Already in the pandemic, we've seen, for example, bigger relief payments going to companies that keep their employees. There are also new opportunities opening up for training.
Well, Eun-ji, you've described some things that are very interesting and exciting in terms of innovation, also some things that we all want to be aware of when it comes to employment and the labor market. Very thorough reporting today, Eun-ji. Thank you for that.
Thank you.